Newsflash is brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, fun papa fee.
Hi there, thanks for staying with us here on Prime On, and it's time for us to do our news flash this morning. It's proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still phones, Papa Pafie. This morning we're grateful to Franco, and we want you to also go there and get your things from them. We're talking about gadgets, home appliances. Please do well and grab your phones, your CCTV cameras, your television sets. If you need refrigerators, you can get from them as well. And they've got microwave. Franco Trading Enterprise will always take care of you. All you have to do is to walk into any of our branches, and you could be walking your way out with something very, very quality. And that's what we're asking you to do today. Those of you out there who want to get into any of our branches, well, I'll recommend Adabraka for you. You can check that place out, and trust me, you will love it. And you can also call us on the numbers you see on your screens. If you want to do business with us, or if you want to call for any inquiries, please do not pick any number on social media to call us or do business with us. Pick the numbers you see on your screens, and you can call on those ones. The app is available. Google Play Store is Franco Trading app, and our website is www.francotrading.com. Do not go and buy anything from anywhere that you'll regret it. Franco Trading Enterprise has got quality for you, and that's why we keep asking you to go there and get your gadgets. And also, those of you out there who want to buy accessories, we're giving you 40% discount on any accessories that you buy from us. So please come and let's take care of you. Franco Trading Enterprise says still phones, Papa Pafie. And this morning, kindness courtesy Franco Trading Enterprise. We've got news flash for you, and you can also join in and share your thought with us. We're streaming live on Facebook, we're on X, we are on Instagram, and you can drop your messages on Facebook on real time. We're going to be reading them here on the show. Our WhatsApp line is also active. You can send your messages there as well and let us know what you think about the conversation we're having over here. And please, I will entreat you to be as civil as possible when you send your messages to us. Do away with the insults and, the attacks. Just make your opinion clear and let us know what you want to say, and we're going to be reading them here on the show. Thank you. I'm going to go to the front page of the newspapers, and then we'll get into our substantive issue. Yesterday, we had vetting still ongoing. 5 of them went through the process. And also, the presidency, we had those who have been approved, sworn in by the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. We're going to be looking at that also as well. Now, in that swearing in after, we had the finance minister speaking, and he said that together they're going to make the president the best president in the history of Ghana. We're going to be looking at that issue, that statement as well here on the show, and a few other things that happened with the vetting yesterday. And so, before that, though, let me introduce my guest in the studio this morning, and then we'll go to the front pages of the newspapers. Then we'll get into our major conversation. Joining me this morning here is the man who's always been a family over here. Lawyer has joined us this morning. Lawyer Kwame Jantua is here with us. Lawyer, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you. It's another Thursday, huh?
Another Thursday. Another day that the Lord has given.
We shall be
and let's be grateful that we are alive.
Life is everything.
Some didn't make it this morning.
Yeah.
Some on their way to hospital this morning. So, after the problems and challenges, they will be there. Every day, they will be there. It's part and parcel of life. It's how we approach it, which makes a difference. So, move on.
It makes sense. The president has averted a looming power crisis. So, that's how we approach it. Mr. Kwame Griffiths is here with us, and he's the former director for the National Education Authority. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Good to see you too.
I love your outfit as well.
Thank you.
As for lawyer there, he's always coming in, the African. No, I've not seen you wear a suit before, have I? I don't think so. I never have.
I've been wearing suit in my early days. I'm going to contest my bread. Who produced some bois?
System, no?
System.
You need an easy one.
I should type in
yeah, bro.
See, in Europe, in the UK, you wear tie because of the cold. The cold doesn't go, so you cover every bit. So it was fine. But here,
Yesterday, though, almost all those who were sworn in, the ministers that were sworn in, were all in tie, suit and tie.
Yeah. But the president
Didn't.
Yeah.
I was counting when the first person went. I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to see somebody wearing it, and they all came out wearing.
You see, we should start looking at our African fashion. I think it helps everybody.
And the president does well with it.
Yes, it builds the fashion industry. So I was expecting them to be wearing some good
Not even one
African
of them.
political suit, or some agbada, nice one. It even brings color to it. So, let's see.
Not even one of them.
It's early days. It's early days yet.
Well, we'll get there. Now, Daily Graphic this morning is here reporting on the issues of vetting and the swearing in of those ministers as well. It says government to provide incentives for agribusiness to produce raw materials. Trade Minister designate discloses, and it's got Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu-Ajari captured over there. Reduce the ministry's portfolios good, experts say, but urge caution. Page 13 has got a story on that as well. On the front page, the big story over there says, no tolerance for arrogance, disrespect. The president tells the appointees yesterday as he sworn them into office. And away from that, Affirmative Action Act requires more resources for full implementation. Minister designated for gender says so. And UNDP Ghana's transforms lives through youth-led innovation. That's also captured by the Daily Graphic this morning on the front page. At the back page, Collège Cloté Municipal Assembly records 200% growth in property rate. And in EU, the Netherlands launched Youth Empowerment Initiative. And I'm sure Georgia Parry will be very excited about this. This is one of the places I'm sure he'll be taking his attention to as a minister. Ghanaian Times is here this morning, and it says that serve with humility, candor. That's President telling the new ministers. They were captured on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Commander Sugar Factory will be operationalized, Trade Minister Dexney says so. GJA to pursue justice for Latif Idrisu, late Ahmed Swale at ICC. That's also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. And Kokma increases property rate revenue by 252.6% through cashless software at the back page of Ghanaian Times. Only 3% of Ghana's female population is screened for cervical cancer, NCD program manager says so. Okay, so that'll pretty much be the Ghanaian Times. The New Republic is here, and it says, sack Edu Wine now. Kidnapping suspect, money laundering suspect, corruption suspect, human rights abuse suspect, blasphemy suspect, and it's the blasphemy over there for me, though. Anyway, so that's the front page of the New Republic, and he's the only one who was captured over there. I don't know for what reason, but he's got a whole front page to himself. Now, the Daily Dispatch is here, and it says, I will not tolerate arrogance and disrespect. Mahama warns ministers of states, and Bawumia vindicated as Ghana tops latest GSMA mobile money ranking. Police issue wanted notice for Ms. Baba Sam for unlawful custody of child. That's also captured by the Daily Dispatch. And that'll be all for Daily Dispatch. The business analyst says that where is the Ministry of Information now? GJA questions Mahama. And the GJA demands justice for Ahmed Swale 6 years after his mother threatens to seek redress at ECOWAS court. And we are closely monitoring Ahmed Swale's situation. That's FAJ president. Now, Mahama asked ministers to declare assets, and Ghana ranked the second safest place in Africa. Crime rate lower than Canada, Australia, and that's a tourism report indicating that. All right, so that's what it is for the newspapers this morning. And I would like us to take our attention to the two major things that happened yesterday, which was the vetting of 5 more ministers and also the swearing in of the ones that have been approved by Parliament already. Now, those who went for the vetting yesterday, don't forget, will be going through the approval at Parliament, and then there will be the following will be the swearing in by the President. But Griffiths, let me take your general perspective of what the President's swearing in. What did you make of it, the entire process itself?
Well, I think that, first of all, good morning to your viewers. I think the advice that the President gave was on point. You know, And it stems from the fact that if Ghanaians, can be trusted, I mean, if there's anything at all that we are sure Ghanaians can be trusted with, is the fact that, they hold the power in their hands, in their thumbs, and they would vote you out if they find you to be incompetent, corrupt, or arrogant. And I think the president touched on all these three things yesterday. Yeah. That they should be humble, serve in humility, after all, it's service to the people, and reminded them that the power that we all hold, in our hands, are from the people, the ordinary Ghanaian.
Yeah.
And therefore, we should not ever lose, forget about the fact that, that's where the power is coming from. He also talks about asset declaration and, the fact that, corruption will not be tolerated in any form or shape. So I think that these are very good marching orders that a captain, is on point, that the captain would give to his crew on a ship. And I also like Ato Forson's promise that they would do the best that they can to make him the best president in the Fourth Republic. And obviously that means that to exhibit selfless leadership, sometimes the tints in their cars gets too dark that people, they lose track of reality. And I like Jerry Rawlings' approach that he would usually drive his white Ford and pick people randomly on the street. I don't know if you are aware of this, and ask them what they think about his government and his appointees. So I think that it's a new day, and a lot has been said that has given hope to the ordinary Ghanaian. And we are watching and praying that not that anybody would go astray, but if that happens, the powers that be will deal with them. It's a human society. You can have one or two people doing what they are not supposed to be doing. Yeah. But at least the hope we have now is that in the leadership of President John Dramani Mahama, he will not tolerate any acts that, will not inure to the benefit of, the country.
Very well. Lawyer, let me take your thought on that too. I mean, for me, it's the constant reminder from the president that there's a certain wave that happened during the elections. And that wave, if we're not careful or if we don't do things right, it could blow us also. Are we going to see that reminder throughout the period that he's going to be in office? Because, I mean, okay, if we even take the elections out of it, let's take the time that he was sworn in as president. Between these 14 days that he has to go through all this nominations and all, he's constantly reminded in every speech that he gives, in every place he goes, about the mandate that has been given to him and the fact that they can't joke with it. Are we going to see this repetitive in the 4 years that he will be in president?
Good morning to our viewers. I'm not a soothsayer, so it's very difficult to be able to tell whether it would go through to the 4 years. But the proof of the pudding is in the eating. As you rightly said, President Mahama has constantly reminded people, constantly reminded his party that this election is the people's election.
Yeah.
Now, it depends also on us. What I mean depends on us. Sometimes a politician would have been given an appointment and he doesn't have the intention to go do the wrong things that you see politicians do. But we can corrupt them.
The people?
Yes. We can corrupt them.
How do we do that?
Especially when we need favors. And we know the favor we are asking for is difficult, but then we find ways around them. So if his appointees do not see the position they put them in as service and see it as a profession to make money, then President Mahama is in trouble. Why? Because he doesn't have his eyes everywhere. What he should then do is that the moment he hears it, rumor or truth, he should take action. He should take action because it's only 4 years. It's only 4 years, with the 4 years where he is not going to come back after the 4 years. It will be up to the party. So his responsibility is twofold. Responsibility is to make sure that he sticks to what the people have voted him in government for, and also is able to make sure that his party, whoever takes over, will come back into power in 2028. It's a huge task because where we sit today, the country is in a challenge, huge challenge. So it's up to them. And I like the bit where he talked about asset declaration and told the chief of staff to put a date on. I expected him to go even further, to say that asset declaration will be known to the people so that we know.
Everybody's aware.
Everybody is
what
aware
you came with and what you
you
didn't.
came with and what you didn't. And not a secretive thing. I wish he had added that to it. That would bring a change. That would reflect the votes of the people. Because you see, and you were right, and I've been saying all along, President Mahama, his demeanor changed with the results of the election.
Yeah.
His demeanor changed completely. And you could see it in him. And if his demeanor has changed, and you, the appointee, your demeanor hasn't changed, then you won't last. And remember, President Mahama is known for reshuffle.
Yeah. Unlike.
He will reshuffle you now. The task is heavy. And he mentioned finance, energy, and the Attorney General. Huge burden.
Yeah.
Huge burden. I only pray that we all will support and not look at it as a partisan thing, but look at it as building the nation Ghana from this point. We need to build this nation. We all need to do, we're sitting around the table here, we're doing our bit. Everybody needs to do little to get the mighty ocean we are looking for. But if we're always going to, and may I also say, this new government shouldn't see when people sit around the table, go on TV, go on radio, and they talk, they shouldn't see it as criticisms. They should see it as caution. And that is what the MPP didn't realize then. 2020, 2016, 2017, what was the percentage of Nanado? Nearly 1 million votes, right?
Yeah.
2020, what did that come to? 500,000. 2016, what was Parliament? Majority.
Yeah.
2020, what was Parliament? At par. The people were telling Nanado something.
Did he see all that?
He didn't listen. He did not listen. And I'm saying the challenges of President Akufo-Addo's government should be the advice to the current government. And they should look at it seriously. Because the people won't wait. These young ones, your group,
Yeah.
they won't wait for the next. They won't wait for the next election. No.
Yeah.
They will not wait for the next election, and they will not put the country in crisis, but they will stop the country.
Yeah.
And how will they do that? By demonstrations and by boycotting work. The country will come to a standstill. So all these people who present, and I think, looking at the kind of people he's put in place, he's thought it through. I mean, the good thing is that he gave a timeline, didn't he?
Yeah.
He said 14 days, his cabinet to be in place. Is his cabinet in place?
Yeah.
Yes. That shows something. And they should take advice from that. Whoever has been given an appointment, take advice from that. Who have been given an appointment, stop this bit where when people want to see you, they have to wait for you hours upon end to be able to see you. Try as much as possible to be with the people. But people are watching. You see, Ghana has proven to the world that in as much as we can go on riot, we can do all sorts of mayhem, we won't do that. We are waiting for this. Not even America could wait for this in the last 2 elections where there was a riot in Capitol Hill. So it goes to show that the people are aware. Look, if the president can't do something he has promised, he should tell the people. Shouldn't hide it under the bushel. If it's not going to be possible, it's not going to be possible. We don't have the money to do it, so we can't do it. Tell the people. Yes, the opposition will jump on it and say whatever they want to say, but the people are discerning. They'll be able to see the truth between who is saying what. But absolute transparency, absolute truthness, absolute making sure that the people understand where the country is going is what will lead President Mahama to become one of the best presidents in the Fourth Republic.
And the statement made by the finance minister in making him, maybe you want to touch on that, and then we'll go to the vetting that happened yesterday. Says they will ensure that they make him the best president in the history.
Otherwise, you can say it. Words you can say it. Implementation. Implementation. What is the key word that we use? Ahamaswa, is that what they say?
Ahamaswa.
Feel big.
Yeah.
That shouldn't come in. That shouldn't come in at all. That shouldn't come in. They shouldn't think that the people have given them the power, it is their power. No. They should try to be humble. They should try to have humility in the things they do and the words they say and the approach to issues. Very important. And don't think the opposition will jump on it and say all sorts of things. Do what the people want. Look, if Parliament, how many is the opposition? How many members?
Oh, they are less. They are
about 86.
86, and then the majority were around 188.
188, 86. If 100 of MPs say they won't go into to Parliament, and the 88 come, don't they still have majority? It should tell them something. But one thing I think I like, hearing how the opposition are approaching things, they seem to want to help build a nation.
Yeah, almost everyone that has spoken.
And almost and all of them have spoken.
They have their own issues.
They have their own issues, but they still insist.
They want to be a part of this.
That should tell you something. And what does that tell? What it tells me is that they weren't really part of the Nanado clique. So certain things they would have liked to tell him, they couldn't, and it's brought them here. Right now, they need to turn a new page. And I think it's a way of showing the people of Ghana that they still listen and they still want to help build a nation, Ghana. But it's challenging for them, no two ways about it. For them to come back in 2028, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. So they need to start from now. And the small clique they have in Parliament, in terms of opposition, have a huge work on their shoulders to move the party to a certain point. They should try as much as possible to argue in such a way that the people see what they are saying makes sense. Because right now, it's not partisanship anymore. It is building a nation called Ghana. And we all need, including the opposition, to put our elbows to the wheel and make sure that we can build Ghana. Because where we are,
it's not about party A, party B. Anyway, and like speaking of that, I think that it's something that the minority leaders retweeted.
One point I wanted to make. After the elections, I mean before and after, I spent some time in Ashanti region. Yeah, my hometown is Abuna on the Mampong Road.
Okay.
And after, I mean, before the election, we were all fighting for power. But after the election, then something dawned on me. When you talk to people, you have women come to you, they sell plantain, and they say, oh, I'm not sure and this year, but your body and your background, the boy phone to me talk. You know, then somebody comes and say, dollar and say this year pa this to me babe force this grand. You see the expectation of people, and that's one aspect that we need to be mindful of. Managing expectation of electorates is very important in elections. And number two, before the elections, teachers who were using their own vehicles, you know, almost everybody that you could think of, especially those even working in the assemblies, you know, all of them so enthusiastically working very hard to make sure that, you know, they are elected. Those who are privileged to be appointed should also remember that it's not everybody who can. There's only one finance minister we can have in Ghana. We can't give it to two people. Those who are not able to be appointed should also remember that at the end of the day, the nation, the president has a mandate from the people, and he has to work efficiently. Obviously, the fact that we are in power today is testament of the fact that the 123 style of governance, minister's style of governance, you know, Ghanaians were not happy with. So the promise of 60, I'm glad he's sticking to some of these promises in the early days. It's not everybody who would be in suit and tie and sit in an office, but we all have a role to play to make sure that the president succeeds. So their promise of the appointees that they will do their best to make sure that the president succeeds. Those who are also left without any appointment have a huge role to play and not make it look as if, you know, something...
Been denied.
Yes. You know, so...
Then you now start working against
your own system. That will not help us. I remember President Kufuor saying that it is better for you to be a laborer in while your government is in power than to be whatever, you know, I mean, an executive or something. I don't remember exactly what the quote was when you are in opposition. So I think we should be mindful of that. In Ashanti, they say that ahenkwa oti oman ahemfie no ne ho won faso chin oman hene. Okobusa ne say na na wan so wada bende. So I think we should be guided that we should all play our role, whether you are appointed or not. Play our role to make sure that, because the nation cannot have another failure on our hands. The youth will revolt. I keep saying that, you know, the fact that there's been such a sharp change with 1 million votes, and then, especially this one, where you have about 1.8, 1.7 million difference, it tells you that, you know, if we have this government also not succeeding, it's not going to go well for our democracy. And I want to end with the point that both appointees and those who worked for the party but couldn't see, you know, their names pop up on any list, all have a role to play to ensure that this government is successful.
But KMG,
Absolutely,
KMG, the $1 million question is those who have presidential ambitions, should he take them on? That's the $1 million question. Because in 2 years, they will start looking
at how they do things on their own to become who they want to become.
Exactly. And because of that, it shifts their focus from the work given them to their presidential bid. Should he take them on?
But it's believed some of them have been already given positions.
Who are some of them?
Nobody at all, the education minister is believed to have a presidential ambition.
He hasn't said.
Well, there's been indications.
Yes.
He hasn't denied any of that.
Well, he hasn't said.
He hasn't said that. I don't know.
He doesn't have to. The party, the inside party knows what he wants to do.
Those who have made it quite clear, those who have made it quite clear should be very mindful. And anybody who he has appointed now and shows that ambition in the next 2 years should take them out and put somebody else there, irrespective of how well they are working.
But then that person would have, 2 years to do what they have to do?
Well, I think that
2028 is going to be another challenging one. Because you see...
For the NDC?
Yeah, for all the political
okay.
parties. For the political parties. And if Aruna is interested, then he should have his strategy of how he's going to make sure that the time he has now, he should do as much as he can for the ministry giving him.
Yeah.
And then if he has those ambitions, he himself should decide, I'm stepping down, because it will hurt the president's agenda.
But he would need to put that place in good shape.
Yes,
that could propel.
Yes, yes. So you should be thinking about it now, that if that is where I want to go, then whatever I need to do, the cardinal points of the Ministry of Education that I need to do to bring it back to where it is, let me put that in place so that the next person who takes over has a smooth run to the election. For me, that's the challenge.
Well, I think that to add to those who have ambitions to be president, I want to differ a bit, that if they are not appointed at all, if they are capable and they are not appointed at all, it may be seen as a vote of no confidence in him by the leader of the party currently. So it's okay that they are. But if you look at the appointments very carefully, you would realize that perhaps there has been some workings into the appointment to pick up where they leave, in case they decide to. I can see that, because I'm internal, I can see that. So that is important.
So it's very possible that Aruna will be
I am not saying that. In fact, this is the first time I am hearing that.
Okay.
Aruna is interested in, this is the first time I'm hearing that. So I'm not saying that, but it is important to note that in the Fourth Republic, these successions have not been managed well by political parties, and it has led to serious issues. You remember our issues during Rawlings' era, when people thought that, some people were being imposed on the party. It didn't go down well, and it has its repercussions on the success of the party. And the most recent election, primaries by the MPP, I think contributed significantly to the abysmal performance in the elections. People's perception that perhaps some candidates were imposed on them, and that went a long way. And people breaking away as a result of that. And the fact that those people don't get significant percentages does not mean that they did not affect the fortunes of the party. You see, politics is a game of perception, how people see you as a unified party. And the fact that there's been a breakaway and there is that, expectation that you are going to lose because of A, B, C, D, that alone takes a certain percentage out of your margins. And so I think that we need to, as a party, be mindful of the fact that we need to manage our campaigns should not be the kind that will become headlines in the general elections. It's very important that no candidate within the NDC makes pronouncements in the likes of, we lost the 2024 elections 2 years ago, and those kind of messages, that you give to primary, because this time, with social media, you cannot control such things from getting out and getting out of control. So I think that we should be guided as political parties.
Like, is the NDC ready to have someone, or is the NDC prepared for someone who's going to take over in 2028?
Why shouldn't we be? Because obviously...
That is the major concern of a lot of people, by the way.
Why
Maybe the party sees it otherwise, but I mean, those who sit at the fence, they're looking at you and like, who is the next person? If Mahama is able to give us a reason to vote for the NDC in the next elections, who are we going?
I am very, very confident from not just the warnings that President Mahama has given before media, that people can say, oh, it's political talk, because we heard it before. However, the internal warnings that he has given, that he is not going to support or defend anybody, he's not going to be the kinds of the clearing agents that we had in the past. So I'm very confident that things will go well. I expect President Mahama, as he has always been, to be upfront with the people of this country, where there are difficulties, there are challenges, he is not going to hide the truth from us. And of course, every appointee is going to do his or her best to ensure that the country runs smoothly.
And he's able to do all of these.
So I'm very sure
a good successor for him?
Yes, why not? The NDC has a lot of very good materials
okay.
that would be very easy to market. What you would not see is somebody taking one person and making sure that he is crowned the successor of Mahama. That you will not see within the NDC, because the president, in his character, would allow the rules of the party to play. So that we will not see.
Very well. Let me do some messages and then we'll move on to the next conversation, which will be the vetting yesterday. We had about 5 of them. We'll be running you through some of them and then we'll make a few comments on that as well. This one says, good morning, KMJ. Please inform my respected mentor and lawyer, Mr. Kwame Jantua, that I always enjoy his great submission on national matters and I wish to meet him someday and be happy. However, I honestly appeal to him to help me pay school fees. And that's Noah Nakonja and Dambe from Nkwantanov Kasa. He put his contact over there as well. I'll make sure your contact gets to lawyer. He'll be kind enough to, but I don't bring plenty school fees, by the way. Lawyer's got other responsibilities. My brother, good morning. In 2028 election, MPP parliamentarians will reduce to 47. That's Reverend Emmanuel. This one says, good morning. The total road network developed by the Akufo-Addo administration from 2017 to June 2024 stands at 13,624 kilometers, as Asubuachi declared, providing a detailed breakdown to substantiate his claims in Parliament yesterday. Asphalt overlay, 1,955 bridges, 35 new construction, 673 kilometers, graveling, re-graveling, 6,185, rehabilitation, 1,665, upgrading surfacing 2,538, resealing 101, partial reconstruction 231.90 kilometers. So in this case, Honorable Governor Kwame, Roads Minister, who has just been sworn into office now by His Excellency John Mahama, wasn't truthful to the vetting committee and to the Ghanaian people, and that speaks volumes about him always discrediting the NPP government for not doing well in our roads sector. But we love to see what he can achieve as our new road minister. Abdulaziz Jimbani says so. This one says, good morning to you, KMJ, and your panelists, especially Lawyer Kwame Jantua. Thanks to the President and his able energy minister for the timely intervention of the looming doom that the Eswal government left us with. Greetings to Mr. Fuzzy, alias Yellow Yellow, the incoming DCE for Central Gonja District. Mr. Fuzzy is the people's choice. Material man from Bupe sent in that. It says, good morning, KMJ, and your panelists. Please, did I hear President Mahama saying they have averted Dumso? Well, he says temporarily. Yes, it's not like, it's a done deal. There's still more to do with regards to that. Let it be on record that the NDC administration inherited a stable power sector from the NPP. What at all have they done to avert power challenges within 2 weeks in office? We wish all the ministers well in their ministries. We would hold Honorable Atuforsen to his words. We're very hopeful to see inflation decline to single digits, city gaining its strength, zero tolerance against corruption, implementation of 24-hour economy and jobs for the youth. Abdul Karim Zagulana, Gushegu constituency in the northern region. My regards to Honorable Hassan Tampuli, MP for Gushegu. Great. All right, let me go and check some of the more messages. This one says, President Mahama's transformation is evident in his demeanor, speech, and overall conduct. His commitment to transparency and accountability, as emphasized in his inauguration speech, is a promising sign of his dedication to Ghana's progress. It's essential for stakeholders to provide constructive criticisms to ensure the government stays on track. This collaborative approach will help President Mahama achieve his vision for Ghana. If he succeeds, Ghana succeeds. Let's rally behind President Mahama and support his efforts to rebuild the economy, promote sustainability, and empower the youth. By working together, we can create a brighter future for Ghana. Timothy Anabila, it says, aka simply Timo El Bechen, sent in that one as well. And Akunsi Gariba is here, and it says that, did I hear President Mahama saying that he would not tolerate arrogant and corrupt appointees in his government, but he has tolerated his foot soldiers attacking officers and looting of properties that are belonging to state and individuals, and he has done nothing about it. Talk is cheap. Okay. Let me go to Alasan. Alasan says that, good morning to everyone. I was touched yesterday at the swearing in when the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, warned the ministers not to be arrogant and disrespectful to the people who gave them power, and urged all of them to declare their assets as well. This is a mark of a leader who is ready to give Ghanaians good governance and to fight corruption. Kudos to JDM, and with this signal, the future of our country is bright. Very well. This one says, thank you, Mr. Jantua, for the advice. Great submission from Wati inside Assetre Elembele. Meshach is here, and Meshach Asante at Amasaman says, I've monitored the vetting from day one, and you could clearly see that NDC really are men and women who are ready to deliver for the country as compared to those who could not even understand the meaning of fish farming and were still claiming they have men and women. But at the end, we saw their smoothness level in their poor performance, which resulted to their unprecedented defeat in 2024 election. Empty barrel makes the noise, indeed. The NDC people talk less, but their heads are full of wisdom and knowledge. Ghana will surely work again under the able leadership of President Mahama. All right, so those are some of the messages that we've sent pretty much. We'll be coming back to some of them again when we do. Don't forget, you can also send your messages on Facebook. We're streaming live over there, so you can drop your messages in real time. We'll come back and read them. A big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise, still phones, Papa Fee. News Flash is brought to you by the kindest courtesy of Franco Trading Enterprise. Please go there and grab some gadgets. We're giving you 40% on every accessory that you buy from us. This is really a good deal, so please do well and grab some of the gadgets from Franco Trading Enterprise. Walk into any of our branches and you'll be treated very well. Customer service is top notch, so yeah, we really believe in that. Great. So yesterday, whilst the swearing in was ongoing, we also had the ministers who have been nominated, vetted in the Parliament House. And well, Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, Honorable George Pariado, was part of them. Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Jifa Abla Gomashi, Honorable, was also there. Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Honorable Agnes Namomolati, was also there. Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Honorable Emilia Arthur, also went for her turn as well. And Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu Ajari, was also there. In general, how have you seen the vetting yesterday? Some people feel some type of way about the way Afinyo Makin, of course, continues to go about his discharge. But what did you make of it yesterday? The men and the women. Who made it for you? I think the women, though, performed.
Should we go down that line?
Well, it's still going to count for who gets approved or not at the end of the day. Your performance.
The question is not even the performance. The question is, have they shown the ability to be able to handle the portfolios given them?
Well, I've seen comments about some people saying that some didn't do to the expectations, some were not answering the questions the way they wanted them to be, answered. And these are commentary, by the way.
Do you think it's easy to sit around this table?
Not at all.
When you have panelists sitting around this table.
But that is the reason why they've been nominated to go there. They need to show that indeed.
Let me make my point.
Okay.
Do you think it's easy to sit around this table as a panelist? Because to sit around this table, you should make sure you are prepared. Why? Because before you come in, what is going to be discussed is given you. And if you don't prepare and you come and sit here, you mess up. It's equally challenging to sit at that table of vetting with the whole world watching you. If you're not strong enough, you can whittle down and not give the kind of things people expect. So it is not everybody who would be able to realize the expectations that are expected of them in the people. But generally, I felt they had a grasp of the portfolios given them. generally. They didn't show any sign of, okay, the last time, the MPP one, I would consult or, I've forgotten the word people like the former Minister of Agriculture used. I don't know, or, you could see that they had command of the positions given them. So, you can come and sit at vetting and say all the good and nice things. When you get into the ministry, it's a different ballgame. Absolutely different ballgame. Especially when you haven't been able to actually visit the ministry, sit with them before coming to vet to get information. I know the minister designate for Minister of Industry, she spoke to us at AGI to look at the private sector and what the private sector expects, and some of the challenges that we, as private and a private sector association, see and how it can help, what we can do to help. Yes, we advised her. My CEO advised her, greatly. And you can have a listening ear now when you get into the ministry.
That's another issue.
That's another issue. So to judge, you might say that, oh, Ajay did well. You might say that, oh, Idrisu did well. This one did well. This one did well. But when they get in there and they start acting the positions they've given, and you hear certain things, it sends a question mark. But they were saying this. Why are they now doing this? Why are they not doing this? So I wouldn't want to say, oh, ABCD did well. I think they all had an understanding of the position. Now, when it comes to the questioning, sometimes I felt some of the questions were a bit unnecessary. Afenyo Marking was asking, so where do you live? The house you live in, is it yours? That kind of thing. Okay, probably there are people watching who would want to know. So you're satisfying some of the questions that people would want to know. Fine. And I could see that he had set himself a certain stance. And that was the stance he was going to use. But if you realize, he has kind of watered down from the beginning. He's watered down from the beginning. And he's able to work with others around the table. So, you then ask the question, is vetting something that needs to be done? I think it's a good thing, especially when you don't know the individuals. For instance, the lady who's going to the fisheries, I had hardly heard Emilia.
Emiliata.
Okay, I've heard Emiliata, but I really didn't know when she said she was in the constituency and she was moved to the regional, I didn't know that. But you could see that she was in command of some of the things, the questions that were asked her. Generally, I think it's gone well. If I were to take all of them who've been vetted, the one I feel had a lot of command and control was Idrisu. Aruna, you could see from where he's coming from, had control of the issues of education. And I liked the way he put his points across. Let's see if that would manifest in the ministry.
Like you rightly said, getting into the work itself is totally different from answering questions at the vet.
The challenging thing is that when they now get into the ministry, the chief directors there and the civil servants there, are they likely to do things that could be untoward? Because sometimes it always happens. Where they say, new minister, okay, you have to see your yes, so send you say you more.
Macho betua.
Yes. So you need to be strong. You need to be a strong person to be able to handle the politics that goes on within the ministry itself. You need to be very strong with the politics that goes on in the different institutions that are affiliated to your ministry, because the politics is there. The MPP, NDC, I know a few of the energy institutions where NDC, MPP is strong. That needs to be broken up. And for me, That is where the challenge is. The people who President Mahama is going to take to handle these institutions is key. It's key because he has a vision of the people and building the nation. They might have a vision of what? Partisanship. The two don't meet. So the people he chooses to sit on these institutions should be very mindful how they handle things. Because people are already set in their ways. To change them can be difficult. But they would have to change. Because right now, there's a new, on the block. And he wants to build a nation called Ghana.
Very well, thank you. Lawyer, let me take your thoughts on that as well. Some people even questioning how Afimakin was asking Opare about his religious affiliations and all of that, and asking if he was a Freemason. But interestingly enough, all the things that transpired yesterday, the questions that he answered and all that, if you check on the internet right now, the only thing you hear people write about or speak about is the Freemason that came out.
He's an Adisco boy. He's a Santa Clausian, yes.
Well, some of these...
tough guy, though.
Yes.
You know, at the point, they had to caution him to slow down because they felt he was charging the youth or something of a sort.
It's not easy being a youth leader.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see that manifest in the process yesterday.
Yeah.
And Afiyoma King had to caution him that he should come
Cool
down.
down.
Yeah, you're not charging the youth of NDC, you know. But like lawyer said, some of the questions.
Well, first of all, I have, in the past, both locally and internationally, paid attention to some of these special political activists. And let me say that they play to an audience. I'll give you an example. If you remember the only debate that Trump had with Harris, before the debate, the whole issue was about Harris and the historic nature of her, candidature and what have you. But Trump said something that we all thought was very stupid to say at a debate when he said, goes to somewhere in Ohio. They are eating the dogs and cats, the pets of the people that live there. You see, we thought he was just being silly, very stupid. But he brought back the issue of foreigners taking over their jobs and what have you, back into the forefront of the... And that is what helped him win eventually. I mean, as silly as it was, people forgot about the fact that the Obamas had come to say Trump had inherited the economy and whatever, which was gaining some traction. And now looked at the fact that we have foreigners all over the place and they are doing this and that, they brought it back into it. So they have a way, when they say where you live and, it's trying to speak to a particular audience that these people are not living in a very cheap area. How did they even acquire the land in that? You see, these are all the things that political activists would do. But I should also say that some of the questions were pretty sharp. The former finance minister, I've forgotten his name, the one who said they are going to build a theater and he said, I've forgotten the name of that guy.
In the past government?
Yes, in the past government. The one that started questioning the trade, Elizabeth. The one that started questioning Elizabeth, he asked about the 1D, 1F. What are they going to do about it?
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, his questions were fantastic, I think. And so were the answers. And one thing that I've also noticed is that almost every government intervention is coming with a promise of subsidized capital. Have you noticed that? If you have noticed that, our great minister says we will subsidize, we will give cheap money to people to. So it tells you that, structurally, those are very good temporary interventions in the economy. But at the same time, too, we need to, in the long term, look at the financial market and how surplus units can easily trade surplus cash to deficit units so that they can create employment. There's no nation in the world that has developed without a vibrant financial market. None. Even in Ghana, look at what is happening. And people have not taken notice, but I have. If you look at some of the big men who have multiple companies, right? when their companies financially are getting out of hand, the right place to go is the stock market to mobilize capital. They don't do that. They form a bank. So you and I just put their monies in their bank, thinking that we are engaging in the safest form of transaction by just depositing money and picking it up. But the money is being used into business, and it's, more or less so. Unlike the stock market where you are being compensated for the risk you are taking, there's no compensation for risk here. I don't want to name names, but a lot of people who have had huge companies, some of them banks collapsing as a result of that, internally using the funds of people and not really properly accounting for it. So I think that one thing I noticed over the past was the fact that, everything we are thinking of subsidizing, electricity, water, and even capital. So I think that has to be in a long term looked at. Quite apart from that, I like the fact that the trade minister did not condemn 1D, 1F.
Yeah.
That was striking to me. She said that, well, there were issues with it.
A lack of capacity.
Lack of capacity. Capital was key because the past administration promised to cap the interest at 20% and promised to pay half of that. So which means they will be left, which is fantastic. If you are paying 10%, more or less it's pretty good. But from what all indication, they couldn't meet that obligation of paying the 10% for the people, and that also resulted in most of them not doing well. She talked about raw materials being imported for almost everything that they produce. So you would think that we are producing locally, to help our trade balances and what have you, export a lot, and but it's not the case because even the production itself, most of the raw materials are being imported. So I'm very happy with the promise that we are going to look at locally producing the raw materials here. Not only that, also adding value to the raw materials through these 1D, 1F factories, which will be
and she also mentioned that the solution to the challenges that 1D, 1F seems to be facing
was 24-hour economy. She mentioned that.
Which I'm sure a lot of the people would disagree with that.
Well, they would, but this is the... I like the former information minister's question. You see, I have never heard the demand side of 1D, 1F explained so brilliantly. You can produce. That is, you are just taking care of the supply aspect, right? So what happens if there is no demand for it? And she made it clear that for most of the 1D, 1F factories, the world is going to be the marketplace. She also mentioned the fact that, and let's think about it, the infrastructure we have, that are the major factors of production. Do you know that they all idle when we go to sleep? As an electrical engineer, I can tell you for a fact that the machines that generate electricity, they don't blink an eye when we go to sleep. They are still producing. But at that period, very small percentage is being consumed. So, and look at communications, the telcos. You see, MTNs will come up with some way of getting people to talk at night and say, oh, you can talk, free talk time, 1 hour, what have you, just use the system, use the network, you understand? Good. So if he says that time of use meters are going to be installed to make sure that those who say they are producing at night, they take advantage of, this power that is wasting away. Communications are being, infrastructure are being deployed, our streets are empty. All these things are being utilized whilst we are sleeping. I think it's fantastic. It is fantastic. And I think the most brilliant answer of all is the fact that the demand side, where we are going to look at foreign, how to export most of these, products. That gives us the whole world as a marketplace. She spoke about trading among Africans, where we live in a continent of 1.5 billion people with over $3 trillion combined GDPs. So at least, I mean, among ourselves, we wield a certain economic power when we direct our transactions towards ourselves. So all these things gave me a lot of comfort. You know, I mean, there were other factors. The government making sure that he's one of the, is it Stephen Amwa? Is that a name?
Sticker.
That's a name.
That's
the nickname.
Okay.
I remember
When
that
he
she
said
mentioned,
that-
and they said that she mentioned that's the
You know,
the
I really enjoyed his questions. The fact that on systematic risk factors, how is the government going to play a role in that? Which I thought wasn't the government's business per se, but the minister indicated that, you know, capacity is the main thing and he's going to help, you know, within the companies. When it says on systematic risk, he's looking at intra-company risk. You have risk that, for example, I am an importer. I'm not saying I am, I'm just using the example. If I am an importer and the exchange rate goes up, that's a systematic risk. That's a risk that affects the entire industry, not just my company. But in my company, like the banks that collapsed, the report, I have read the report, and it indicates that there were very poor governance structures in place, where you have owners playing certain roles they were not supposed to play. And, you know, so those are unsystematic risk. And I think it is important that, you know, I mean, what the minister indicated, that capital was one, and lack of capacity was one, you know, structures within the governance structure were all. But, you know, a role that government will play to make sure that people who require education get the needed education and capacity to be able to run the companies properly. The other aspect I think that the trade minister indicated was the free zone. You know, the free zone enclave, the fact that Ghana runs both the enclave system and the single factory system. I disagree with the assertion that the enclave system, because it is what the modern countries are using, because of that, it is the most modern and appropriate for us. I don't like off-the-shelf solutions from European countries that are pushed down our throats.
But most of the ones that have been pushed down are things that we've experimented and they've yielded certain results.
No, not all of them. I
that's
don't see why
most of them. So if this is something that can also yield a certain result,
I don't see why you should do away with single factory. The Europeans have a different problem. They have the Minnesotas and what are so cold that they want to attract people to those areas. So they form these enclaves in those areas to attract people there. We are not that developed. They would want to have a policy to disincentivize people from setting up probably factories in New York. we can benefit from factories in anywhere. I mean, they have 3.8% unemployment. We have people who have even given up looking for employment, so they are not even captured in the unemployment percentage, you know, because it's always those who are actively looking. So I think that I totally disagree with the fact that a single factory system is obsolete, and you can have on the motorway, Spintex Road, factories spring up in spaces there, and it will still help the economy. So I think that that is I think one of the persons that did fantastically well
yesterday
was Emilia.
Okay. Lawyer says he will go for Haruna.
Oh, no. Yesterday, I'm talking about
You are talking about just yesterday.
No, as for Haruna, I know Haruna in education. Haruna was a NUX president. He was a NUX president in 1995.
But so far, who would you also
that time
go
I
for?
was...
At least lawyer has mentioned that Haruna has overall excelled. Who would you go for?
I didn't listen totally to Haruna. I just listened to some aspect of free SHS and what have you, which I have my own. I've really read intensively the educational history of this country, so I don't really credit too much the bourgeois tradition for anything education. They were the proponents of Gorgeous Best education principles, some of which said education should neither be free nor compulsory. So I don't credit them. And most of them, if you look at our history, we've done fantastically well as you know, the center-left party in that case. But I would still stick with Emilia because I had the opportunity to listen to her.
Okay.
And the fact that she seemed to be very knowledgeable. I know her personally, by the way. And
it's not influencing your
no, it's not.
decision
It's not really, but
Okay, when you finish.
yes.
When.
So I like the fact that I didn't know that Ghana had been yellow carded on the.
Okay, that also
IUU.
came up. That also came up. Then
Yes, and I didn't know that. You know, that was the case. But I think in the past I heard of some patrolling activities and light fishing activities, and if you look at the issue of IUU, it's like somebody puts up a poultry farm, right? And we can all go in and take some of the birds and eat at any time. It's important to make sure that we have rules. We have laws that govern anybody who goes to take them. How do you take them? You don't have to poison the birds to take them away. You know, you don't have to disrupt their sleep pattern. So no, you don't create light in the night just to attract them and then catch them. So all these things, I didn't know Ghana was flouting so much until yesterday. And I think that, I don't know when that happened. If timelines had been given, that would have been so helpful. I know in the past, some 10 years ago, I heard of some patrolling activities and what have you, but I didn't know that. I think we need to work on that. Because quite apart from the fact that you can get red carded and banned from the EU market, it's also not good for fishing activities in the long term when you are thinking of sustainability. You know, it's important to make sure that, for example, if you do light fishing, you attract species that you don't even need. So at the end of the day, about half of your yield will be thrown away back into the sea, dead. You understand? Yeah. And that destabilizes the ecosystem within the sea. So I think that we need to, as a nation, work on that very, very, very seriously.
Okay. Let me do a few messages and then we'll come back to wrap up. I'll take lawyers' closing remarks on that as well. Now, Philip Apochi says, good morning to everyone. The new ministers must work together with the grassroots. The previous administration wasted their time and we don't want the new administration of NDC to do the same. The arrogance should be part of their work. Shouldn't be part of the work, you mean to say. Abochi Flip in Keta. Alaji Hamza in Pefam says, good morning, my brother. The defeat of the NPP in the 2024 elections should be placed directly on the doorsteps of Nana Addo. This was a president who could go to a ceremony, ask the chiefs to wake up and greet him. The poor tax. They go on and say the poor taxpayer money was used to construct a private chair for him to be carrying to functions. The chair even had its own driver, bodyguard, and the worst part was the chair was being carried in a V8 full of air conditioning. Why? Alaji Hamza is asking that question this morning. Thomas Wantham says, okay, that's great. I don't know what it is in reference to, but that is also his comment over there on Facebook. We're streaming live on Facebook, so... and speaking about that, somebody was asking, so where's the chair now and where's the V8?
I've asked the question whether he didn't take it. But I saw President Mahama yesterday sitting in a similar chair, so I don't know whether he...
Is it?
Yes.
In the Jubilee House?
The Jubilee House, yes. So maybe there are chairs in the Jubilee House like that.
Okay. But there's a possibility he'll be carrying it around as well.
No, he won't be carrying it around, but he was in that kind of a chair in Flagstaff House.
Oh, so it's the same chair that the ex-former president was carrying around?
That one I don't know. I won't be able to tell. I'm not there. but KMJ.
Yeah.
Afeni Markin made a point yesterday when he was interviewing my Santa Clausian brother with regards to the youth. And he indicated in this Fourth Republic, every president has been able to give some kind of money to youth business. And they didn't pay. It has become a debt for government. How do we handle that? This is where we have the responsibility. If you're going in to get money from government and for your business and you don't pay, how does the next person come in?
Yeah, it affects every other person.
So we have that responsibility. So it's not only government. this bit where they say that, oh, we'll find money, the country doesn't have the money to give. As they give money here, it's stopping something here because we don't have the finances. So we should be clear to the people, clear to the youth. On the Minister for Industry, Agribusiness and Trade, I think the most important thing is to look at those industries that have capital flight in terms of imports. 2023, our import bill was nearly 180 billion. That is huge. So we need to look at those industries where we can cut capital flight. Very important. Because capital flight, what does it do? It reduces the foreign exchange on our markets. Number two, should look at encouraging local business. And Osei Kwame was talking about big business. About big business, they know how to work themselves out. It is the medium and small scale businesses where we need to be able to ramp them up in the next 5 to 10 years. How do we ramp that up? What kind of businesses do we identify? That would help the economy. Because if we don't study that, and this is where the AGI does very, very well, in terms of identifying the small businesses that can ramp up quickly. That is what we should be looking at. For instance, the gold industry. We have a refinery, PMMC. Is it working?
Well, there's a CEO, there's a secretary.
It's got nothing to do with that. I'm not even talking about PMMC itself.
Okay.
I'm talking about the refinery.
Okay.
Why isn't the refinery working? Because the certificates that are needed to get from the international institutions to work it, they are holding out on us. But if that refinery works, what do we then do? We tell every gold company in this country, refine the gold here before you export. It brings more money into our coffers. It brings more money into our coffers. I like the idea of looking at the sugar factory again. But it should be looked at in such a way that it can become profitable. For me, it is the export that is key. The export of these products that is key. The understanding of the export markets. Our embassies in all these countries, we should have departments there where they look at what is required and download it back to the Ministry of Industry, where the Ministry of Industry also downloads it to local companies to be able to satisfy the market. That is key, like the Chinese do. The Chinese will take a lot of their people into America, go and learn these things, and then come back. When they come back, they come and do it even better than the Americans. We need to be able to look at, especially our imports and especially local business, how we are going to handle it. Because we need to start from a point. A lot of these young people, if they had their own way, they'll start their own business. But you don't want businesses that are repetitive business. So KMJ is selling hair products. So me too, I'll sell hair products. Or say Kwame will go and sell hair products. We need to diversify it. Who helps in that diversification? So it looks as if at the present moment, we are back at grassroots to start building and ramping up. But for me, the major thing is being able to hold the cedi down, being able to hold inflation down, being able to look at the exchange rate, and being able to identify those products that give a huge return.
And all of these, the finance minister has promised that he's going to do his best to make Ghana work. So we'll get there. Let me do some messages and then we'll be done for today. This one says, good morning, Joy Prime. The former highway minister cannot give a blanket statement on road without indicating where the roads are constructed. NPP for you. Moses in Sherponi sent in that. This one over here says that the GJA has come to add to institutions who have suddenly found their voices. They are now giving the government an ultimatum to come out with the investigation on Ahmed Swale murder. Where have the GJA executives been since the past 6 years? Kakari from Techiman. I think there's one thing that the GJA has been doing is adding their voice to national issues that concerns a lot of journalists in this country. That I understand they've really done well. Look at what happened with the president, with Galamsey, when the GJA president spoke and said directly to the face of the president that this is something you need to take off. In fact, the president had issues with that.
Yeah.
And so the GJA
Most of the presidents, former or current?
the former president. Pardon me. We in the NPP are wishing all the ministers best of luck. We want to see them chop success for Ghana to move forward. Personally, I believe that NPP's 2028 victory does not depend on NDC failure or success. We have to reorganize and do our homework well. We can still and we surely bounce back stronger. It is possible. Master Planner Junior in Kintampo. Let me go to this one over here. It says, good morning, KMJ. The worst form of government in Ghana was witnessed between 2013 and 2016. Talk of the arrogance, disrespect, insult, nepotism, economic hardship, etc. So if the president and the NDC are learning lessons from their mistakes in the past, it's good to effect corrections, but they shouldn't create an impression that those are from the NPP. Nanado achieved a lot, and the NPP is far better in government than the NDC. That's Ike in Koforidua. And this one, okay. We can watch that video now. Let's see. We'll take a look at it later. It says, good morning. I am Eben from Kwabenya. I think I shared the same view with you this morning. The appointing authority shouldn't make the same mistakes in 2016 at all. We can't afford to give ammunition to our enemies to shoot at us, period. Greetings to Honorable Eleklem Akurugu MP Dominic Kwabenya and to Dr. Tony Obin, the mining expert, and Louisa Kwache. All right, so those are some of the messages that we have sent. Let me go to this one over here, which has something of the road minister. And it says, Aka, the former road minister mentioned, okay, I think I've read that. I've done that message already. Let me go to this one, which has Jubilee House in there somewhere. It says that, good morning, Mr. Host. We, the youth, our tertiary fees should be paid. Cocoa price should increase, and we don't want a minister who will tell we, the youth, that we are lazy again, and we should cut our grasses and collect stones and sell. In the vetting, they should ask him, this question is very important. By the Jubilee House, all the retirees must go. The woman, Jantua, she's how many years, and where is Johnny Bett? Rewa, okay. I'm trying to struggle to get exactly what you're saying, but well, it is what it is.
I think jobs are very important should be a very important part of President Mahama's work, because if we can create the kind of jobs that would make people employed, then we don't have to give out so much money free and subsidize left, right, center. I think it's very, very important. And the private sector should help. AGI is prepared to help. Private sector should help. But those jobs that are created should be meaningful jobs that can look after an individual's family. If they are not meaningful jobs, and there are jobs where, okay, you are working, so you are getting 5 CDs a day, that won't help. I also want to know, the trade fair, it looks as if things are happening there.
Yeah.
However, is it going to be the kind of trade fair that is going to be expensive, where ordinary Ghanaians being businesses cannot hide offices there or cannot use it? How we handle that is going to be very important, because that wasn't the thinking of the Nkrumah government when they put trade fair up. It looks as if the trajectory could change, but we should bring the people along. Don't wait for the whole edifice to come up before you start talking about it. As it's being built now, inform the people. Let the people have an idea of what is going to be there and how others can be part and parcel of it. So that when it's finished, it's easy for people to decide whether they
want to be
exactly
there or not. I think George Quay put a few things. He actually even put some videos of it and how the whole place is coming up. But then again, the conversation you're having with us right now is not something that has been out there in the first place. And so I think it's something that we need to believe.
And then apart from that, I think the creative arts is very, very important. Very, 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 very important. I understand that the cathedral site, some of the suggestions that are coming is a hospital, children's hospital. But you see, KMJ, we are going to be 70 in the next 3 years. We need to be able to celebrate that 70th anniversary. And I think that site should be used for the creative arts. We need a good theater in Ghana to attract all these international theaters to come into our country. Because what does it do? It helps in tourism, and it also puts the country in a certain setting. So we should think about what we're going to use with that. Yes.
Very well. Thank you. You want to do something? Maybe 1 minute from me.
Something very quickly. My brother spoke about capital flight, and I wanted to add, the fact that, another thing that really has an effect on our economy has to do with profit repatriation. Most of the major sectors in the economy, you have a lot of foreign participation. And most of these people, look at the financial sector, for example. Most of the local banks were collapsed. Instead of giving them stimulus packages that would keep them afloat. So you have other banks who are not too prone to systematic risk because they play in other economies. So your local factors do not affect them that much. So they remain afloat. If you leave them to compete with some of our local banks, that's what happens. You look at the telecom sector. So you look at Ghana, and most of the major players are in the economy, in our economy, are foreign-owned. And I think that we should look at that in the form of legislation as to how we can ensure that some of these banks have a lot of local participation. Some of these companies have a lot of local participation before we license them to do so many things in our economy, so that the money they earn, most of it stays here. Otherwise, then we have issue with our foreign exchange all the time.
Which is the major concern, and I don't know how they...
Can you imagine people? Can you imagine people?
What is happening?
Somebody has just sent me this note that President Mahama has had children with Justina Nelson and Anaya Jantua. That's why he's put her. How? How is this possible?
And they wrote
how is it possible? How is it possible?
But
But these are not factual. I mean...
She's my sister.
Yeah.
I know she has only one boy. She doesn't have children anywhere else. Can you imagine?
Interesting.
Talk about the devil. Now, see, but I'm sure most of these things will be coming up. Your sister would have to stand firm because most of these things will be coming up, and I don't know. It's terrible.
I think that is disrespectful to women.
Yeah.
That perhaps they can only get somewhere because somebody has...
You understand. And we've been fighting for affirmative action.
Exactly.
And we're here, and when women are given positions, this is all you can write about it. It doesn't make sense. I'm sure your sister will not take this.
It's wrong.
It doesn't make sense.
If I didn't know her, I would have said, well, I don't know. But
this is the truth.
It's the truth.
Yeah. Anyway, let me say thank you to you both for coming this morning. Mr. Sir Kwame Griffiths is a former Director for National Identification Authority, and he joined us this morning. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. Lawyer Kwame Jantua, the brother of... but have you seen her? Have you wished her well?
Yes.
You have?
Yes. She actually called me to tell me about it, and we had a discussion over it, so yes.
Okay.
We talk every day.
Technically, you're a presidential staffer.
No, I'm not.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. I appreciate it. Today is your birthday on Henry Gifty Auntie. You're celebrating your birthday today. Happy birthday going out to you, Mom. God bless you. We love you. And keep being the awesome woman that you've always been. And wish you the very best. Long life, good health. And hey, keep the gym thing going on, man. It makes you look younger every single day. A very, very happy birthday to you. On Henry Gifty Auntie. There's still more coming up right here on the show. It's here with the Golden Girl. It's got some latest updates in the world of trends. Nathaniel Ato and the team, as always, will be here with the sports update. And then later on, we've got our conversation on relationship. And today we are looking at a stingy partner. Usually when it happens like that, they make the men look bad. So we're talking about, can you be with a stingy man? I don't know.
Why should it be a stingy man and not both ways?
But that's what I'm saying. That when it comes to this, they always make us look terrible. So. But the reason is that we're doing this from a case study, which is a woman who sent a message to us to.
So broaden it. Broaden the scope.
It's based on a case study.
The man's money is for both man and woman, but the woman's money is
for her and the family.
And you see,
the men disagree.
I want to come on this your program of this time.
As you know, we'll be glad to have you on, so please do.
and you see, I don't know whether it's coming from our culture, those days where the man, you know, had so many children in the farms, took them to the farm and was providing everything. You know, these days we've moved beyond that kind of families, and we have a situation where both male and female are working and earning income. So if there's more bread on the table, I mean, if everybody puts bread on the table, then there's more bread on the table. I think that we have to look at that.
But some of the men too, when they realize a woman has money, they hold back.
Exactly the point. I mean, you can do that.
It's not the case where, I mean, most of the time, if you are making, you know, for example, in the US, I was probably making about nine times what my wife was making. So I would usually take care of everything.
Yeah.
We had a situation where, you know, US, they pay you every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we had a separate bank account where the first month pay goes in, of the first 2 weeks pay goes in for both of us.
Okay.
So what I was earning, half of it for the month, half of it will go into that account, and half of it will go into that account. And we run the family issues and everything with that. And then the remaining 50% is left for whatever you want to do with, you know, Ghana, we have the external family system, whatever you want to do to help your external family or other things that you want to do. But most of the time, if you want peace at home, you just pretend you don't know what is happening to them. Because what goes into the half was so much, you know, that there were leftovers, and usually I wouldn't even bother to find out, you know, how it's being spent. You understand?
I see. Interesting.
So, but we had other couples who had very serious issues. Subino was imported from Ghana to US, and as a result of that, even though both were making money, the man was paying everything, and at a point, it had effect on the farm, you know, their relationship.
You know what I want the producers to do? They should cut these things that these honorable men have said and add it to the conversation when they finally say that these are your takes, and we'll add it to the conversation when we say that the perspective of the
does this have to do with only married couples, or it's got to do with
it's not just
okay, so that'll be our conversation this morning. Thanks for staying with us. There's still more coming up right here on the show. Do stay.
Newsflash was brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, fun papa fear.